What's going on, guys? So I literally just bought a GoPro and this is the very first video I'm filming on it. And honestly, it feels kind of weird to be filming like a vlog talking head video on a GoPro. Probably like not the best quality that you want from an audio or video standpoint, but a lot has been happening in my life lately. A lot of changes, a lot of things I'm really looking forward to. And I thought that it'd be cool to just get a GoPro and just kind of talk to it. Start almost like a video journal, and not as much for like everyone watching, although, you know, it's cool that you are. Hey, you out there on the internet watching this little video. But I think it's like a really cool idea to document my journey as I'm going on it. Just to put it into perspective, yeah, the first part of my life, I was like playing in rock bands, basically like was a complete idiot throughout school as a kid. I like failed grade 10, was basically a colossal failure, and made like a huge change in my life. Switched schools, literally just got a completely new social circle, friend group, and start to value myself a little bit more, build some passion and some confidence. And I went from like failing grade 10 to graduating high school with the highest math mark. And that's after failing grade 10 math specifically like 3 times. And then I guess all that time, you know, going through a lot of my adolescence with a lot of people around me saying like, you know, you're not going to do anything with your life. You're like fucking it up so badly. You know, you're going to get a little bit of a chip on your shoulder when you hear things like that. So I dedicated basically, you know, my early 20s to just proving everyone wrong and putting a middle finger up to the world in a way. Not in a rebellious sense, but from what I thought was like a success standpoint. You know, in college and university, just literally trying to get a 100% in every course. And, you know, I graduated college with like a 90% GPA, moved on to university, and graduated with a 3.91 GPA in economics and finance. And then I did what any business student dreams of, what any finance bro, if you will, dreams of, and pursued, you know, working at the bank, trying to get my CFA, getting into like M&A, trying to like work into the world of investment banking. And the deeper I got into that, you know, the more time I spent on Excel and grinding spreadsheets, the more I realized like, I'm not cut out for this. Like, I'm a bit of a silly goose. I like, you know, having a good time, working with people rather than numbers. And like, I'm good at numbers. I definitely have like a natural business sense. My dad kind of instilled that into me at a young age, teaching me, you know, buy low, sell high, introducing me to like yard sales. Grew up like watching business shows like The Apprentice and Dragon's Den. But yeah, I realized as I was pursuing all this kind of finance status to flex on LinkedIn, like so many other people in business school do, is like that shit didn't make me happy. And I was working for one of the biggest banks in Canada right out of school, and it was so stressful that like there were some days I was up there like on the 30th floor or something. There's some days where I was like, man, I wish this window wasn't here. I just want to jump out of it. Like it got to the point where I was that miserable. And I don't know why I didn't listen to my heart earlier. I pursued like that finance world for a few years after that, before it kind of dawned on me like, yo, this isn't what I like doing. And I think the pandemic really solidified that for me. Like I had started making comedy YouTube videos right before, you know, everything happened in the world with the pandemic, like early 2020. Just making comedy videos, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like getting creative, going out in public, interacting with strangers, you know? And yeah, I was trolling, but I found it so much more fun than like grinding on Excel, valuating companies, managing corporate projects, all that kind of shit. And I pursued YouTube, like making people laugh for a while, and it was good. But when the pandemic happened, I wasn't able to go out and troll people. You know, the nature of the videos I was making were like hidden camera prank kind of videos. And approaching someone in public at that time was pretty frowned upon, to say the least. So I had to find a way to adapt and make content that was sustainable no matter how long that lasted. And in Canada, we were going through it, a little bit with a little bit more strict rules than a lot of the world was. So it was like the better part of 2 years were kind of spent inside at my place, pretty isolated. So I asked myself, like, hey, like, what am I good at? Like, what could I sustainably make content about for a long time? And Gary Vee kind of always talked about that. Like, if you're good at something, you could probably talk about it for long enough that you'll never run out of content. I struggled with this. And then one day I was using Tinder and I matched with this girl, and she started using like cringy like lyrics in our conversation. And I was like, is this for a TikTok or something like that? And she's like, oh, I'm actually a YouTuber. Like, you're onto me. I was like, oh, like, that's sick. I just started YouTube too. And I checked out her video when it came out. And she wasn't like the biggest YouTuber in the world or anything, but this video of her just like using funny Tinder lines, it got so many views. I think it got like 10,000 views in the first week, which at the time to me was like the most views I could ever imagine in the world. I was happy if I could get like 200 views in a week. So I saw her video and I was like, I'm sitting on like 1,000 matches right now. Like, I could easily burn some of these matches and just make funny content. And I did just that. And I was kind of surprised to see the reaction when I put that up. Like, obviously people enjoyed it, they found it funny, whatever. But there were also a lot of people commenting and messaging me privately saying like, bro, how do you, like, you get matches? How do you get so many matches? Wait, like, girls actually respond? Wait, you're actually like meeting up with these girls? Like, people found it too good to be true that I was actually using Tinder successfully. Like, I didn't realize how big of an issue it was for men in 2020 to use dating apps. And at the time, I'd been using them for 7 years. And I remember when I first got Tinder, it was because a girlfriend broke up with me after dating for like 4 years, and like, I was wrecked. It broke my heart. Like, she left me for an older guy who had a good career, had a job, had his own place, had a car, all that fun stuff. So needless to say, I was wrecked. I got on Tinder. I threw up the best 5 selfies I had and got absolutely nowhere. It took me a while to just figure out, first off, how to get matches, building up the confidence to even like work on myself, working on my looks, the confidence to like go out and get my photo taken, the confidence to shoot my shot, take risks in conversations. Like, it took me 7 years of just trial and error, a lot of rejection, a lot of failure to figure out, and quite frankly, just master dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. And posting that video brought me back to where I was, 7 years ago. I didn't realize, like, yeah, I've been doing it for a while, I figured it out, but any man who starts on dating apps at some point in his life will probably experience what I did and what all the people messaging me were. So it was cool. The video got a pretty good response. It got like more views than my prank videos usually did. So I kept rolling with it. I kept posting these Tinder videos, and it got to the point where people were like messaging me saying like, hey, I will literally pay you to coach me on Tinder. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like, I don't even have a PayPal account, but like, let's just hop on Zoom, let's chat. Like, I'll coach you for free, bro, because I wasn't a coach. I didn't really know how to coach people at the time. And I think it just goes to say, like, with where I am now, and now I am like a professional online dating coach, which sounds funny to say after kind of saying that origin story, because it comes from such a place of, first off, mastery, like actually building a skill for 7 years, figuring out frameworks that work for me and that will work for other guys, that they're replicable. It's not something that just works for me and my style, but something that any guy could kind of take, put his own twist on, and find success with. That was really cool. But it also goes to say, like, I feel like a lot of people my age, maybe a little bit younger too, like I'm 28 right now. I feel like a lot of us see the end result that people post on the internet, and we don't want to put in the work because we're so used to seeing the end result. We assume that it comes easy. We see Andrew Tate in the Bugatti. We see all these people wearing cool clothes at the club, popping bottles, and we think like, oh, yeah, that's just what you do. But a lot of the time, unless you come from money, which I didn't, a lot of the time you've got to put in some work to get there, or B, you're just bad with money and spend it on trying to impress people, which has never really been my thing. So I just found it cool with where I am now, after doing this for, a couple of years. I guess it's about a little over a year and a half since I actually started a coaching business, but more like 2 years since I actually started like being a coach. I think it's cool to kind of document my journey, because to put it in perspective, I started my coaching business officially, like started taking on paid clients in February of 2021. I basically made no money in 2021 because I was just spending a lot of the money on, like whether it's marketing expenses, cameras, editing videos, just cost of doing business. It didn't really make any money. And now in 2022, with where I am right now, and this is another thing, I don't know how sustainable this is, and that's kind of what is causing a lot of the excitement, but as well anxiety around my business, is I don't know how sustainable this is going to be. But right now, rather than trading time for money, I've structured it in a way where I put my knowledge into a product that sells itself. Blows my mind. It's humbling, and it just reaffirms that, like, if I listen to my gut earlier in life, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to start a business. I've always wanted to help people rather than just crunching numbers, like actually work with people and improve lives and be more hands-on as like the front end of a business, like even just in a sales and marketing capacity. And part of me kicks myself for not like listening to myself earlier in life and like being like, buddy, you're not the accounting guy who sits in a desk all day crunching numbers. It's just not who you are. I wish I listened to myself earlier in life, but I'm also so grateful that I'm reaching this kind of part of my journey at this stage of my life where I am, a little bit older, a little bit more mature. I'm not in a spot where, money comes in and I just blow it. Like, I'm saving everything and just trying to invest it, because like I said, I don't know if this is sustainable. I don't know if this is just a temporary cash flow stream that, will cut off. Maybe one day the algorithm just kind of leaves me in the dust, which is a scary feeling, but it's a thrilling one too. And I've got a lot of cool things that I have planned, both from a lifestyle standpoint and a business standpoint, that are coming up. And I just thought it'd be cool to get a little camera like this that I can pretty much bring anywhere and just kind of document what I'm going through, when I'm going through it. And I just wanted to show you guys my journey as someone who's just figuring it out as I'm going. I want to show myself this journey because I feel like in a few years, it'll be really cool to look back at where I am now at this point in my life. I feel like I'm really on the cusp of something really, really cool. And it could be evaporated tomorrow and gone, or it could really take off. So appreciate you guys kind of listening to this long-winded speech. For me in the future, you're probably going to laugh at this video and be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But yeah, I feel like this is a really cool thing to do. Probably going to just continue to film more internal thoughts, business takes, just updating myself on like what's going on in my business, things I figured out, things that like burn me, whatever. And a lot of cool lifestyle stuff. I've got a lot of cool things planned as far as travel and some bucket list stuff that I'm going to cross off. And I plan on bringing my GoPro along for the entire ride. So yeah, let's go. This is going to be a lot of fun.